All right. Hey, welcome to Garage Talk. As always, I'm Conrad. Let's go.
I'm Ted. Time to rock and roll.
Hey, Teddy. Today in the garage, we have with us middle school coach, football coach, and varsity track and field coach for the Mississinewa Indians,
Kody Cowgill.
How we doing, Coach?
We're doing good.
Good?
Excited to be here with you guys.
You have practice today, man?
Yep, right off of practice. Cold Indiana spring weather. Feels good to be in here right now.
So tell our listeners and some of the people that are watching on YouTube a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, so I graduated from Mississinewa in 2017, so seven short years ago. It's going pretty fast. And then I went to IUK from 2017. Graduated there in the spring of 2021. I got my degree in exercise sports science and had a minor degree in coaching. And then right after I graduated from college, I got a job at Mississinewa at Westview teaching PE, and then did that for a semester and transitioned to RJ Basket to the resource room. That was a great experience. And then not this year, but the year before, I got a job as kind of the assistant strength conditioning coach with Green Tree and in the PE department at the high school. So
cool.
Yeah, it's been a quick journey. Started coaching right when I was out of high school, the year that I was done. So I started volunteering at Mississinewa High School as an assistant sprint volunteer coach with Susan Lobziger and Arbogast when he was there. Went unpaid for about 3.5, 4 years, just started working with the sprinters. And then during that time, I was involved with the junior high football. Coach Kurt Funk, when he was here, gave me that job and that opportunity, and that was at 19 years old, that was just a crazy opportunity.
Yep.
I mean, just turned 19 and started coaching, and that really threw me in the fire fast, and I'm forever thankful for that, because a lot of kids at that time don't really get the opportunity to coach when they're that young and lead young men. And I took that junior high job and then kind of worked my way up through track, and went junior high track in 2020 as the head coach, and did that up until this year. I did the junior high head coach job and was the high school sprint coach job. Did kind of double duty during the spring with that up until this year. So yeah, just stayed busy. Been busy ever since 2017, it feels. But yeah.
And that's awesome. So 19-year-old, you start coaching. I think that's a positive, because you're not that far removed from what some of these kids are going through. So you can kind of guide them through some stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like was my biggest strength as a young coach. There's always the negatives to the outside, and people looking like, this kid's young, he's coaching kids, they're only 7 years, 5 at that time. I mean, a junior high kid was 13, 14, some maybe even 15. So there's a 5-year gap, but I just took the positives of that and just related to the kids, because I was really able to relate to those kids and adjust myself. And obviously I had to change some styles of the way I was, because I was still a young coach. But there was a ton of positives, and I've helped that. I've matured a lot, obviously, since then, but I've also gained a lot from being a young coach. So yeah, I was super thankful for the opportunity as that young to start coaching.
I think that's great, and that's what's good about the administration over here.
Yes.
I mean, top to bottom. I mean,
Yes.
You can't beat what we have over here.
No, that's exactly right. Super thankful for all those people that allowed me to start so young.
So what got the bug in you, man? What made you really start wanting to coach and be a leader at such a young age?
Yeah, so I started running track in middle school for Ian Van Winkle. He was my coach in track, and then I took a year off, and then I started running track sophomore, junior, and senior year. But I played football my whole life up until I graduated, and Coach Funk was a huge role model in my life at that time, and just kind of seeing the way he did things and let myself lead our senior group when I was in high school. And I was a team captain for 2 years, my junior and senior year, and just kind of leading my grade and my kids by example. And when I was in high school, it kind of started giving me a bug, like maybe I might want to do something with teaching when I get older. And then my senior year, I tore my MCL and had a knee injury, and it was week 9, so we missed week 9 in the sectional. So during that time, I was kind of just sitting around with coach, and I was like, man, from the outside, I might actually want to do something with this, now that I was just kind of watching from afar. And that's kind of when I thought about it. And at that time, I really didn't know. I knew I was going to go to college. I knew I wanted to stay local, so I knew sports were probably over for me, but just that's kind of when I got the bug for it. And then I eventually went to college and started studying sports science and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And that degree is pretty aligned with either you're going to PT school or you're going to start being a coach and a teacher. So that's kind of where I was at. And then I just started volunteering. And really after that with Coach Lobziger, she's still a teacher at the high school. She was a huge impact on me. She just kind of let me run my own thing sometimes when she was doing her thing, because in track there's so many kids and you can't corral them all. So she was giving me a little bit of responsibility, and Leonard Arbogast too was the head guy at that time. So that kind of just jolted me into the track world, coaching. But at that time I was also starting football. So, but yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, because I mean the average age of a coach in high school across America is like 35 years old. You got to jump on that.
It's crazy. So
you're looking at an avenue to get a lot of experience. What are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, this year's been a big transition process, because being the head of junior high, that's a lot of responsibility, and I took a lot of passion in that. But this year, just being the head of a varsity program at a pretty solid high school, Mississinewa, we have, we're 3A now in football at least, but we host a lot of kids and we have a lot of student athletes in that school. So just taking that step this year, leading a group of high school kids and leading the high school program has been a big step for me, and just kind of learning with what I've done in the junior high and the coaches that I've been under. And I've been under some phenomenal coaches. I've been coached by a lot of great coaches. Just taking things from them and just kind of running with it this year and adapting my own philosophies to it. It's really just, this year's just the navigation process of trying to navigate through that first year and using what I've done in the past, but figuring out what I'm gonna have to do in the future.
Right.
But I love this community. I love where I'm at. I've always been Mississinewa, and I want to take this program just year by year and build what I can here and just see where it takes me. But I'm really pumped to be here in Mississinewa and try to just help our football programs out and just help propel this track program, because that's my main goal now. So this track program. So yeah. Excited. I'm pumped.
Well, that's and just in the last few years. I mean, the Biddle kid, Pole Bolton. I mean, then how many kids have we had go to state in the sprints and stuff?
Yeah.
What, the 4x100 and it. You got any studs this year?
Yeah. So you guys know what we lost in the previous years. That was a stretch of dominance that was just, we were super thankful for as coaches here at Mississinewa. Biddles, IUK, Pole Walton, is going to be on that record board for a long time. Hayden Nelson, everybody knows about him and what he did. He was a great kid. And that 4x1 with Trayvon, Jaden Crick, and Peyton McPeak, Boston Burbank. Throughout these years, we've been super, super lucky to have that talent in Gas City. Those kids have bought into the program that we had at that time and just were hard workers. But this year, the kids that we have this year, they've kind of seen what's happening, and it's helped really build the numbers. And I'm a program builder and numbers builder. Like, I want to build a team, sustainable team. I don't want to just year by year. This year in the first year, you're obviously trying to get as many kids as you can. But yeah, we have a lot of talent this year. I think this is the biggest team we've had possibly ever. I'm not sure. We're above 60 right now for Mississinewa, and that's huge for our program.
That's big
numbers. I don't have the numbers in the past, but I know it's one of the bigger teams we've had. We have a lot of good senior leadership. Boston Burbank's back for us this year. He was on that 4x1 state team. Mason Wyrick, he just committed to go to IUK today. He's going to hurdle and jump there. That's just the seniors, and then we have Gavin Blake's a senior thrower for us. And then I think we have 12 boy seniors, which is a ton for us compared to what we've had in the past. And then on the girl side, we only have 2 seniors, but Avery Mariel, she's a hurdler for us, and then we had a cheerleader come out 2 weeks ago. Her name's Maya McKillop. So we now have 2 senior girls. We only had like 14 girls on our team last year, and now we got it up to about 25 this year.
Good.
What have you been doing, man? Just out there recruiting like mad, or what?
So that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about track, at least here in Gas City in Mississinewa. The numbers have been relatively low when we made what we could. Last year, I think we placed 4th in the conference with 12 girls competing, which is extraordinary, and that's a testament to our girls last year. But yeah, the months of August until January, you're recruiting really hard in track, and I kind of recruit through football, and that's kind of helped me out a ton and building that relationships with the kids at the junior high level. And I teach 2 periods of weightlifting, first and second period in the morning at the high school, but I have 8th graders, so I have the whole year to build that relationship with the kids, and that's what my goal is at first, is just to build that relationship and build the camaraderie with the kid before I even talk to him about track. And then I have August to December to talk with the kids about life and see what sports they play and see if we can make it a fit. And obviously with some kids it's not realistic because of where they're at in other sports. Mm-hmm. But I try to work with the kids, and I try to make it about the kid. And track, after being in the weight room and seeing them, I'm like, I can see pretty easily if something can translate to the track. You're either you can run fast, you can jump high, jump far. So, but the biggest piece is recruiting, man. You got to recruit hard for track because it's not your premier football, basketball, baseball sport, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. And I'm trying my best to make it like that here, but like you said, guys, it takes time. But I'm super thankful for the numbers we have this year. Yeah, it's exciting.
I always wondered in my head, like, if, and not just at Mississinewa, anywhere, any high school, if there's ever been any coaches, you've seen the movie Grease, where John Travolta keeps like, I didn't say you were in the movie. That's back when Ted had hair.
Oh God.
but when Danny keeps going out for sporting events, he ends up in track. But he starts off like playing basketball and then wrestling, doesn't he? And then he like slugs somebody, and they're like, yeah. And then they end up like, I wonder if we have any coaches that are like, hey, listen, I know you wanna play baseball, but you can't see the ball. But you are so fast.
Yes. Yep.
I'm gonna introduce you to the track coach. I just wonder if that happens nowadays, because I've seen some kids who I'm like, man, they don't have feet, they got wheels, and they can move.
Yep.
And like, somebody point them to a soccer field, to a track field, somewhere where they will be able to showcase their speed.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's the thing that track does. It showcases the speed. I mean, you're right in front of the stands. Everybody's watching, and it's the only option is to move fast once that gun goes off.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. At least for me as a coach, I can tell based off the other sports if the kid has wheels. I mean, if you're sitting at a soccer game in the fall and how the soccer game's flowing, and you see a burst, because soccer is kind of a game of burst. It's it's kind of an endurance-based game per se, but it's also a speed-based game to where you're having to push a lot. And that's what I love about just coaching track. I start to see these things with the kids and how they accelerate, how they burst. Even if it's a short burst, I'm like, oh, they have some push. And it's just in all sports too. I mean, it's just that's the one thing I love about it, is just seeing kids that have potential and then trying to build the relationship and trying to see if you can eventually get them out.
How do you teach burst?
Yeah.
I've seen where they like a couple YouTube videos where they like fall into running, where they're standing straight up and they just let them fall and take off. Is that?
Yeah, so that's how you can use that as a drill for acceleration. And a lot of people, that's we've always done that too, just the falling starts, that where your body's starting to just fall and you push yourself forward based on how you're falling. But that's called acceleration, is what we call it in track. So the burst is our acceleration phase right off the bat. And that's, some people would disagree with this, but that's built in the weight room. Coach Greentree, he does a phenomenal job with the weights program there. And me being with him for half the day, I get to see a lot of it too and help him a little bit. And that's built through just stuff that we have programmed within the strength program, and the stuff that we do out on the turf, the heavy sled pushes, the 10-yard pushes, the 10-yard sprints, lateral starts where you're facing a wall but you're pushing with your leg and firing out of your hip. It's the little things that build acceleration is what gives you that burst. Yeah. And a lot of people, it's just you don't know that.
Running hills
and and real quick burst things. Yep.
Yeah, I think we got top of the line strength program over here, strength and conditioning program. I think it's
phenomenal.
Top.
Hidden gem is what I call it. But I think more and more kids are going to their strength and conditioning during the off season or summer, right?
Yep.
Did you guys have like a ton of kids this past summer?
Yeah, usually we typically start with this strength program in the summer, the first week of June, and that's when the numbers are the biggest, obviously. But yeah, I think I don't know the exact number, but the boys it was around 80 to 100 range, and the girls I think it was 40 to 55 range over the summer.
Wow.
Maybe it should be around that, but yeah, the summer is always And I think now the coaches are doing. I think there's more of an expectation to get the kids there, and there always has been. But it's just making sure everybody's holding each other accountable. I mean, it's hard especially with kids having jobs and just how the coaches' philosophies go with that stuff. But yeah, we're doing everything we can. And I know everybody from top to bottom is trying to get all of our kids in the weight room and get everybody bought into that for their 4 years that they're there in Mississinewa. And it's exciting because there's kids that come in.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, it's crazy the progress they've made.
I always like those two words, bought in.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's what would you say? 60% of it? The buy-in, the other part is dedication and effort and
Yep. Yeah, and those can be tied together.
Attitude.
Yep. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, the buying into me as a coach is you're showing up. That's the first thing. You show up to practice, and as easy as that sounds, like a lot in this day and age, that's tough for some kids.
It is.
With our technology that we have these days and all of the systems, gaming systems. I mean, and I'm not too far removed from it because I'm a young coach, but like I feel like even since I've graduated from 7 years ago, it's getting even more drastic every year. It's just
Everything's more and more advanced. I
yeah,
don't know. Now let's jump to football.
yeah,
Okay, so you're basically leading the junior high kids,
yep,
but then you're also on the sidelines every varsity game as well, right?
yep.
So, just a volunteer assistant for the high school, or?
Yeah, so, I had the 7th and 8th grade, and then Friday nights I go up to the box with help out Coach Cowgill and Green Tree and the whole staff there, and I just have a headset on up there, and those dudes are phenomenal football coaches. I'll tell you that right now. They know that's a great football staff, and our kids are so lucky. And I like to think I can coach some good ball, but those dudes are phenomenal. And I think I do a pretty solid job with the junior high, but I'm thankful to be able to help out on Friday night, just with the headset, seeing what they need from up top, from as far as numbers from the defense or coverage. But my role is just to coach junior high August to October and be on the sidelines with those guys on Friday night, and I'm with them all summer, obviously.
Right.
But it's a great time.
So, speaking of junior high, is there some talent coming up from there?
Yeah. There's a ton of talent. I was really lucky. This team, our 8th grade team this year, they had a three-piece, so they've won 3 straight CICs at the 8th grade level. So this year we had a really, really great team. It was the biggest team I've ever had. I think at the start of the season we had 31 kids on just the 8th grade team.
Oh my!
And we ended up with, I think, 25. And we were led by some great players. I mean, obviously you guys know Levi Crandall. He was our quarterback this year. And we had a ton of great kids. I mean, I can go through and name. I'd probably name them all still because it was just such a great season. Those kids went undefeated, and high school they have a ton of talent. They have 4 really good linemen coming up. Obviously, Crandall, and then Jasper Ballard. He's an 8th grader. It's really good. Martinez, Jace Christopher. There's a ton of good kids, and that's what I love about coaching junior high. Just trying to develop those kids, get them to love the game and learn the game at the same time, and then propel them to 9th grade and see them grow with those high school coaches. Because the staff we have at the high school right now it's phenomenal, and they know their football, and they're great leaders, and it's an exciting time, and I think we're seeing that from the results that they put out too. I mean, it's a great time to be here. It's for sure.
Well, that's like, junior high, we have conversations about it a lot, but I just, between 7th and 8th grade, I just can't, it's hard to fathom the physical changes that these kids make in 1 year. I've seen some of them grow 4 or 5 inches in that year.
Yeah, the 7th grade year, they're still learning their body, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. Kids 7th grade, 8th grade, it's just like you see them after their 7th grade season ends, and they come to June 1st or summer, they've grown 4 or 5 inches. Like, whoa. But in the 7th grade year, they're still a little bit timid. You know that. I mean, they're just kind of trying to learn their body, and they're just kind of scared of contact. And then 8th grade, they start to grow a little bit mature, and then having the 8th grade weights classes, I think personally helps some of our athletes because it helps them exposed to just getting used to that environment. But it's awesome to see the changes that those kids go through. It's crazy seeing it as I get older from a coaching perspective too. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, we always talk about the middle school being the bottleneck of any sports program, or at any school system. You have kids they decide, football was wonderful, but, next year I'm going to be a freshman. I'm going to concentrate on baseball and possibly, soccer, because they book in the season where middle school, it's one after another.
Yep.
There's no 2 sports going on at the same time or 3 sports. It's hard for kids to choose. Do you have kids come to you and say, hey, coach, listen, I love football, but is this something, am I gonna have a shot to play at all in high school?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because that happens. That's just that's the personal conversations. If you have that relationship with those kids, they'll start to open up to you more than what you ever thought. And yeah, there's been a lot of the times. There's been some kids that's been the case to where they're worried because they've seen from their 7th and 8th grade year they got away with playing in 8th grade, but they notice that they're not maturing at that rate, and that's kind of what the conversations I've had is just the rate that they're maturing at. And a lot of the kids, they just need that confidence, they need that assurance, and I do that a ton as a head coach. I like giving kids the reassurance. I like giving them honest reassurance if I can, but it's just telling them like, hey, it might take a couple years, and that's okay. And some kids, that's possibly what could drive them away, but it's an honest opinion. And hey, it might take 2 years of working in the weight room before you can even think about touching the varsity field. But that's okay. That's why we have our freshman teams, our JV teams, and that's something that as a coach, especially in your big sports, that you want your kids to understand, because I think a lot of kids these days just feel like they're on top as an 8th grader and they don't want to go back to being on the freshman team.
Right.
And it's tough for those kids in the mindset, but it's just, and as a coach, it's just delivering your program, your philosophy on how you're going to do that with your freshmen and JV kids, and how you're going to do it in practice with the scout teams, and what their role is going to be, and getting them to understand that role. And that's to answer that question, it's just getting the kid to just kind of paint a picture for them on where they're at, where they could go, and what they're going to have to do to get there. That's really the whole thing. And some kids understand it and it changes them and they'll work, but some kids, there's going to be the few kids that quit, and as a coach, man, it's happened to me this track season a couple times already with kids, and it breaks your heart and it makes you mad, and then it makes you upset a couple days later, and you're just like, you question your philosophy. You're like, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing anything wrong? But it's just, that's a great thing about coaching. If you have even 10 kids, 12, 15 on a basketball team, or 50, 60 on a track football team, like, you have so many personalities, and every kid's different, and it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot too, because you have to coach one-on-one. It's not just team. Like you said, you don't know what kids got going on at home or in their personal lives.
The mental health aspect of sports for coaching, you're not just a coach. Sometimes you might have to be a therapist. You might have to listen, and some of the things you don't want to hear. But that child's struggling, and they have a need to vent sometimes. And, you guys being there, and now you being as young as you are, I think you're going to gain a lot of experience.
Yeah, man, I hope so. It's it's definitely. I embrace that part of coaching, just listening to kids and hearing them talk, because there's been a couple kids that just been crazy life events happen, and it's just, when they can open up to you, I feel like you're doing, aside from coaching, you're doing your second job as a coach, and that's being there for them, coaching them through life aspects as well, because that's what we're here to do, and that's how, I think that's how you make the true bonds with the kids. And when you need them to do something for you on the court or on the field or on the track, like, that's when the tough times come, they know that, like, you have that bond, that trust, and they'll do it for you.
How does your approach to coaching, period, I know that track and field is way different than football. Is your approach to coaching the same?
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds from football to track, I honestly think it is. I try to be who I am as a person, as a human, no matter, like, a lot of people change it, and I think that's been the one thing since I've been young that's helped me. I've stayed true to who I am, and I've stayed true to the kids, and I've acted the same. Obviously you're going to have your fired up moments, and with how my personality is, if I get fired up and the kids know that something bad is going on or they need to change something, but yeah, I think just staying true to who you are. And what was the second part of that question?
Just how the approach is, like, whether it's track and field, football, they're two different sports, but when you go in there, is your strategy, hey, I'm just going to focus on teaching the kids the fundamentals, whether it's track and field or lining up on the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Just.
Yeah, so that's a great thing about football. It's definitely with the junior high kids. It's teaching them how to line up, teaching them stances. Middle school, like get here, please, and just listen for 5 minutes, and then we'll progress into moving after that. After you know what you're supposed to be doing, we can do it with a little bit of movement, and then involve some X's and O's within it. And then by then, half the practice is over, and then hopefully by team period they can mesh what you've talked about together. So with the junior high, it's more so trying to build, and for the way we do it at the junior high, we base it all off the varsity. Whatever they're using, we dim it down and teach it at the junior high. So it's getting them to understand the X's and O's, but at the same time putting your own philosophy on it, because you can't, in my opinion, you can't coach the 7th and 8th graders the same way, with the same intensity that you can the high schoolers, or you're going to have half the team quit on the first day. But that's the great thing about, I think, football and basketball, and it's an XO game, but with a lot of fundamentals, and you have to teach fundamentals very heavily at first, and then with track, it's a lot of just like, I'm going to talk to you and show you how to do it, and then you have to do it. And you videotape and you angle or whatever you need to do. So it's more the kid does it without really a whole lot of explanation. You just you watch how they do it and try to give them feedback. Like football's a lot more of X's and O's, film watching, tape, and track's more those sports is more you're watching other people. Track's more you're going to do it, I'm going to watch you. And then, yeah, it's crazy.
A little bit more individual.
Yeah, but yeah.
What's your approach to teaching? Is that same as coaching?
As far as like my job during the day? Yeah. So I would say
they're pretty close.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the good thing. That's a really good, cool thing about what I do. The first 2 periods with junior high, being in the weight room, we're working on pushing weight, pulling weight, and sprinting, exploding, and with that, that's the great thing about that job is you can kind of talk about sport and what you're doing in sports within that. Like we're doing this in here to translate to the sport. And no matter if they're my football players or track runners, we can talk about baseball, basketball, soccer, tennis, wrestling. Like it all translates. Yep. And we're all like this weight program is for every athlete. It doesn't matter even if you're a cross country. Like it does not matter. And I just try to teach the fundamentals in the weight room, and I'm with Green Tree too half the day with the high schoolers, so it's cool to have both of us in there with them and just teaching them about how this can translate to far more than just like the sport field too. Life, like this is building your guys' work ethic. It's building you as a person, and hopefully after having that for 2 years or 1 year in junior high, freshman year high school, and then maybe by their junior year they finally caught on to it and understood that maybe we're doing this for a reason, we're doing it for a purpose. And that's just what, as a coach, I just want the kids to understand that they're going to gain something out of it, even if it doesn't happen as fast as what they think it is.
Yep.
Because it's the long game sometimes. And like you guys said a minute ago with some of these kids, how you get them to understand that. It's just some kids it's going to be there, some kids it's not, and it's okay to have a long game. It's okay to take 2 years to develop. It's okay to take 3 in your senior year, have a great one.
Right.
And that's what the great thing about sports are. That can happen.
Yeah. But Coach, I want to win now. I want to win right now. We're all human beings. We want that instantaneous satisfaction of getting what we want right now. But when they're in middle school, going through puberty and all those fun things, because you can always tell when they're really hitting that stride, because a little bit touchy.
Yep.
They want to win now. How do you calm that down? How do you teach them patience?
Yeah, and that's where it's just in track it's more individualized. Your individual events accounting to the team. So even though you're not where you want to be at this moment, you're still helping the team, even if you're not where you want to be at this exact second. But it's just, and that's what's going on with a couple of our freshmen right now. They had a lot of success in junior high and track, and they dominated the conference, went to the state meet in junior high, and this year they're freshmen competing against, so they're 15 years old competing against 18-year-olds, especially the indoor season. Your 25 schools are at this meet with us, and you're a freshman competing against a senior. Like there's a kid from Warsaw that high jumped 6'8", 6'9", and like that's insane. And you have kids that are watching that like, oh no. Like, and some of our kids have said it, like
6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, those indoor meets, especially the couple at IWU, that phenomenal competition. And our kids see that, and that's where, as a coach, you have to be able to, like, give them a little bit of feedback, like, hey, this is where you can be. We're not here right now, and it's hard to get, like, that's an elite high jumper, but they see that and they want to, like, kids, ooh, I want to get there. Like, why am I not there?
Yep.
And a lot of it's genetics in track too,
True.
and you can build on that.
Right.
And that's what we do. That's why we do what we do. We play the long game. We build in through the weight room, through speed training. But yeah, the approach to track is it's really individualized, and getting them to understand that their individual events are gonna count to the team if they buy in. But like you said, how do you do that? Like, that's the hardest question, and that's where, for myself, it's just it's getting to know them as a human, understanding what they're going through, what events they want to do, what positions they want to play, and kind of like redirect them and try to build them in whatever way. It's a tough question, but yeah.
And that's, speaking of the indoor season, well, you guys didn't do too bad in the indoor meets you went to this year.
Yeah.
From everything I saw, and that's some school records were set. And
yeah, it was very, very good indoor season for us. So indoor is set up through small school and large schools. So it's based off your football class. So small school, for indoor meets, you're trying to qualify for the state meet in Indy. So if you're 1A, 2A, 3A for football, you're small school. If you're 4A, 5A, 6A, you're large school. So for example, Oak Hill and Eastbrook, they're small school. We were large school because we were 4A, and that just changed yesterday. We're now 3A in football.
Right.
So we're going to be small school from here on out.
Okay.
So with large school this year, we didn't qualify anybody for that state meet, but if we would have been small school, we would have qualified about five to six people.
Really?
So that's going to be something cool going into next year for our kids. But yeah, the indoor season, we had a ton of success. We had a hurdle record set by Mason Wyrick on the boys' side. Wyrick also set the high jump record with Dalen Davis. Our boys 4x8, that was a distance record they broke. On the girls' side, we had a 4x4 record broke. The boys 4x4 record. Trying to think about what else. Girls 4x8. It was a phenomenal indoor season, and it was really cool to see the whole team contribute, because the distance broke a ton of records.
Yeah.
And the past couple of years, we've been getting a ton of sprint points, and our distance kids have been working their tails off, and it's so hard to run distance, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It takes a special kid to run distance these days.
Yep.
And to see our kids finally have that achievement, and even just school record for us, it's a huge deal. And it was awesome just to see the whole team through our jumps, our hurdles, distance, sprints. It all pieced together this indoor season. It was phenomenal, and it made me super happy as a coach to see all that.
That's got to. That's,
so,
like you said, that even you're competing against the big schools, but that's still an achievement to break records.
Yeah. So this track and field season, who you looking to see as some of your top competition in the county?
Yeah, you probably had them on already. You guys already know track and field around here. Oak Hill boys side there. I mean, their call-out meetings are over 100 kids. Paige has done a phenomenal job over there getting kids out and setting his culture there. And every year you're trying to chase Oak Hill right now in the CIC for track. And you have a lot of other competitive schools. I mean, I would like to say ourselves, Madison Grant, they're becoming more competitive in the Grant 4. Eastbrook always has some kids. On the girls' side, Eastbrook has a really talented team on the girls' side this year. Oak Hill, obviously, they're always really good on the girls' side too, girls and boys. Frankton always has a lot of athletes, but yeah, we're just trying. Our team motto, I don't know if we've had a team motto for track ever, but I threw it in this year. It was one that Coach Funk used for me in high school. It's called Close the Gap. So like on our Twitter hashtag, it's hashtag Close the Gap. So in track, I felt that was kind of fitting for our guys, because if you're a distance runner and you're trailing a guy on your last lap, close that gap down. If you're a sprinter on the last 100 of the 400, close the gap. And as a team, we're trying to close the gap to the teams ahead of us. And right now, last year our boys got second in the conference behind Oak Hill, and I think our girls got fourth. So we're trying to close the gap every day. And I'm trying to get the kids to understand that it might be a big gap as a team, but if we can, these individual events, if we can understand that they all account to the team, because track, your individual points in the conference, you're scoring top 8. So first place gets 10, second 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So getting a kid to understand that, hey, you just got 5th place in the 100-meter dash, but you just got his team points. You just got 7th place in the 2 mile, but you just got his points.
Right.
And that's the thing that a lot of kids don't understand about track. And especially around here, we don't understand that as much. And I've been trying to set that this year for the kids and get them to understand that it's a team sport.
Yep.
And even though it's individual, come CIC, we're just like every other school, every other sport. If you're in first place in the meet, your team's the CIC champion, and it's going up on the board. It's going on the board forever.
Right. Yep.
And that's been the biggest thing that I'm trying to slowly establish here at Mississinewa, and I'm excited about it. Just to get the kids to understand it more and hopefully close that gap, because that's what we're rolling with this year. So
I like it.
yeah.
That's
So
when's the outdoor season kicking off?
So
for your meets.
Yeah. So it's great. So our indoor season started March 2nd, and that went through, I think, March 16th. So it was 3 weeks of indoor meets on the weekend. Within that indoor season, we had a Monday outdoor meet for some reason. It's just the way the schedule's always been. So we had one outdoor meet already.
Yep.
And then we were supposed to have one last night, and it got canceled due to Indiana weather, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You guys know we had the tornado warnings all day, and then we had to cancel the meet because tornado warnings, don't want to have the risk of that.
Right.
And then come 5 p.m., you look out the window, you're eating dinner, and you're like, man, it's sunny
The sun
outside,
came
60
out.
degrees, and there was no rain at all last night. So unfortunately, we didn't get to have our meet last night. So that was supposed to be the official kickoff. But we have a home meet against Yorktown, Madison Grant Millwood next Tuesday night.
Okay.
And then we're heading to Eastbrook for the first time ever for an Eastbrook invite that they have. So
okay.
so next week's really the official start for us, Tuesday and Friday. So it'll be exciting. I'm pumped for our kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's always.
But just speaking to you, we've had a lot of the other coaches from the high school on. I think the administration and the board has did a good job of getting. I think we got the right people in place in about all of our sports.
Yeah, we appreciate all you guys, man. It's awesome. I mean, we have a great administration, great board in place for getting these right hires, and I think we're seeing it as a whole. And stuff takes time. That's what stuff takes time. And from the outside, I think you guys understand that, but sometimes people don't get that. It takes time, and especially with kids and building athletes, it wasn't built. You can't build it overnight.
No.
And it's like you guys said, we're seeing it, and it's credit to everything.
Just like
Every
Conrad
4
said.
years it rolls over.
Just like you said earlier, you were asking about the kids that, win, right now. I want it right now. How many fans, spectators are like that?
I mean, I'm like that. I want my Colts to win now.
Oh, yeah, I'm the same as the Colts, man. I love some Colts football. As you see the Texans signing everybody today, Stephon Diggs and getting all these guys. And, yeah, Colts, I still think they're going to be able to score points. A little worried about their secondary still, but, yeah, I love the NFL, too.
I take it you're a big NFL fan.
Huge NFL fan, man. Love it. Have been since I was a kid. Was a big stat guy, card collector.
Yep.
Love the NFL. I love the NBA. I love the Pacers, too.
Yeah.
So, I'm a huge NFL and NBA guy. A lot of people don't know I'm a sports fanatic. Watch it all the time. So
I fell off with the NBA. I might watch 1 or 2 Pacer games a year, but the appeal is gone for me. I see travels, and I never looked at myself like an old school guy. But every time I see a travel, I'm like get so upset. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. They take 3 or 4 steps.
So what era, when you guys were in your 20s, what was the era of basketball at that time?
Oh man, it was it was rough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 80s basketball, 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you're not getting a layup. You're not getting a layup. You're getting hammered, and it's not a flagrant, and it's just a regular foul.
And you're not seeing a lot of 125, 120 final scores back then, are we? I would.
No,
not in the 120s.
You had
3 point every
well,
shot.
see,
Did they have 3-pointers back in your day?
Actually, no.
Was it a
they
peach
didn't.
basket?
They didn't.
Oh.
You need to look up the stats on how many more points Larry Bird would have had if there was a 3-point line.
That's a good debate that a lot of people. Yeah.
That's he would have been pushing Jordan numbers scoring wise. But now there was a college back in the day, Loyola Marymount. You remember?
Yeah.
They'd score about 150 points a game.
Okay.
Bo Kimball, Hank Gathers, those guys.
Hank Gathers passed away.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's but that's it's
I mean, that was back then.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of debates about then versus now. It's cool to hear. That's one thing about the high school kids. Some kids talk about it, and you're like, okay.
yeah.
The LeBron, Michael Jordan stuff is, everybody has a GOAT in their era,
Yep.
but I don't even think Michael would say he's like, yeah, he would say I'm the greatest.
But and I'm sure a lot of coaches use him as an example.
Yeah.
He got cut from the basketball team in
Oh,
high
yeah,
school.
you heard that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look,
You hear that all the
You
time.
can, you know.
The flu game.
that's-
Yeah, had the
You can
flu.
use those two examples, man. It's crazy. Just
Yeah.
those two right there. You can still
So you're
go today.
It's a different
you're
time.
talking about Michael Jordan, all this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
he asked us, who was it back in my day, Dr. J, George McGinnis. That's how old I am. I remember watching the ABA when they had a red, white, and blue basketball.
I missed that.
It was awesome.
Missed it by a little bit.
I missed it. I missed it by a lot of bit. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, because
It was a little bit.
college football, college basketball, that's my favorite.
Oh yeah, I love college football too. Yeah, huge Notre Dame fan. Yeah.
Even that's, we've talked about it before, a lot of people don't realize that, Indiana Wesleyan or Taylor, no matter what sport it is, it's amazing just to see.
Yeah.
Some of the high school kids need to go over and just watch that. It's just
Yeah.
because everybody's like, well, it's a small school, so
Man,
get an education.
I'd do a double backflip if EA Sports would bring back the NCAA football.
So that's where I'm still ingrained in some of that stuff because it was prior to my time. They're coming out NCAA, the same one back in the day in July, I think. It's dropping.
Oh, really?
July. NCAA EA Sports
There you
25.
There's your NIL, because I heard that they only paid everybody like $600
That's what I
bucks,
heard. Yeah.
and they're gonna make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
Yep.
money,
Yep.
because I'll end up buying it.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into a little bit of controversy.
Okay.
here. Let's talk NIL.
Oh yeah.
Is that going to weed its way down to high school?
I think very slim, like top basketball players that go to the private colleges. I don't know if like Max Clark. You know who Max Clark is? A couple years ago, he was the #1 prospect in high school.
Baseball, yeah.
Baseball.
Yep.
Out of it was Franklin, right?
Franklin Central or
Yeah.
Yep.
Out of Franklin. I mean, he got a lot of coverage for social media. I don't know how, I don't think he'd make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't because if it's like talking weeding its way down to high school, at the moment, there's kids when they get to college as freshmen, obviously they've probably already been offered some stuff, right? You would think.
Yep.
I don't know, personally,
Yep.
but as far as meaning just get it within the high school game itself, or just senior year to college is what you mean,
No,
where they're-
I meant if you got, this kid is a freshman or sophomore, he's averaging 35 points a game.
I don't think Flory,
And such and such school says, hey, why don't you transfer over here? Which, the transfer thing in high school sports has changed a lot
It is,
now,
yeah,
too.
it's changed too.
You got a lot of kids that, well, I'm going to move over there, or I'm going to go to this school. Which, we don't know all the backstory to all of it. Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I better just shut my mouth.
You can get into it, yeah. Oh, Flory, I turned on ESPN last night. We're in bed. He was in that McDonald's All-American game. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I just don't think that there's enough kids to spread it around in high school for the NIL. But I think college, if you're gonna make just as much as you would make in the pros in college and get an education, that would be my
Well, they
go-to.
offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in the Big Three.
Yeah, I saw that. She'll be joining. She'll be in Indiana here in a couple months, right?
Yep, should be.
Man,
Maybe.
if
But you
Peter
know,
had
you-
a first pick, right?
But you know
If
what the average salary for a WNBA player?
What is it?
$78,000 a
Yeah.
year.
That's
crazy.
That is crazy. I feel like there's been a lot more. I don't know if that'll change it, but I feel like there's a lot more momentum picking up as
Yeah.
far as I saw a stat that game the other night with Caitlin Clark and LSU was the most
Most
watched
watched, yeah.
ESPN game in like 10 years.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was just basketball, but unless it was. But I was just like, that's if they're gaining all the momentum, surely you're gonna start to see
it was a
something.
good game.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
in women's college softball, that's gaining popularity
Yeah.
like crazy too.
Yeah, those College World Series are fun. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
They
it's
are.
fun to watch.
They are, and that's
Yeah, it's-
I seen where Jay Williams was talking about what Caitlin Clark should do is take that $5 million and still play out that contract, then go back to the WNBA, bring that hype, and start building the hype for the WNBA, raise everybody's salaries there, get people to come sit and watch. And I don't get hyped for pro basketball like I said earlier, but I find myself watching a lot more women's sports.
yes.
Women's softball.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women's softball, I was like, man, I don't know if they could elevate that to them go pro and have some pro softball teams. But I'll tell you what, I love watching college softball.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
no,
fast paced. I mean, those girls
And
get
they
it.
get into it too. It's energy and everything's there for that.
Yeah.
Man. It's awesome to watch.
It's an atmosphere.
That's
It
right.
is.
It's an atmosphere. That's
It's
what
an
it is.
atmosphere,
Yep.
Teddy. It's like it's like the bands in college football. I love that.
Oh, that's
I love that.
Who's the
Yes.
best in the land?
for college bands.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, what do you?
He's probably
Ohio
going to
State
say
was-
something
oh,
like,
that's
yeah,
what it
and,
is? It's
yeah.
Ohio State. Okay, yeah.
And that's why I was shaking my head. I knew where he was
I guess,
going with
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're complaining about that. That's like every time I turn on a baseball game, if the Yankees are on, I just turn it off.
We're 5-1 right now.
It's busy time. A lot of baseball's on its way
Yeah,
now.
we took
Everything's
a
going on.
we took
Warm
a,
weather's on the way, so
I hope so,
You guys will
especially
get
for
some,
freaking track season, man. It's,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
Indiana's a tough place to be in April.
Oh, it
for
is.
every
That's-
baseball. I feel bad for baseball and
Baseball,
softball too.
softball,
Like
track,
that field. Track can, if we
You
get
guys
the rain done,
usually go, though.
they can clean off the track. The draining system was really good. I was shocked yesterday. There wasn't puddles anywhere
Really?
all night after a couple hours, and
Yep.
then you look over at the baseball softball field. Man, that's a 2-day delay right there. It's like ugh. But
yeah.
yeah, hopefully the weather clears up for us. I hope because we had those 70-degree days like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
now.
Yeah.
we're back in the 30s, 40s.
Yep, that's-
Well, hey, Coach Cowgill, we appreciate you taking
Yeah, we
time
do.
out
Yeah.
of your day.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. It's
I
been a
think-
good experience.
I think you're gonna do great things for us.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
we really do. We appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate
We
you guys.
appreciate your heart
Yeah.
for kids.
No, I
not just
appreciate you
coaching.
guys.
Like I said, you talk personal stuff. That's amazing.
Well, come back anytime.
Yeah, whenever you guys line up the schedule again.
Well, I'll tell you what, during the summer, we're out here sweating it out.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck
thank
this
you.
year.
Appreciate you guys.
See everybody next time.